Hello, welcome to When the Smoke Clears. I am the recovery plug. What's happening, man? I hope you guys are doing good today. I know my day's going just fine, man. So what's up, man? Well, check this out, man. Before we get this video podcast started, if you would please join me in a moment of silence, followed by a serenity prayer for the addict who still suffers and for those of us who are still bound down to some sort of struggle, you know what I mean, that keeps us from moving forward in this toxic life that we live in, man. So yeah, if you would please join me in a moment of silence. God, grant me the serenity to accept the things I cannot change, courage to change the things I can, wisdom to know the difference. Alrighty, man. Well, check this out, man. I got a little stuff for you guys today. Hopefully you guys will enjoy it. But check this out. You know, one of the things that I do in my recovery is I've mentioned it many times. I've even talked about it a few times in other episodes, and it's the mindful meditation. And one of the new things that I'm doing, though, is I just started it, and I've been doing it for a few weeks now, and it's really a changer for me, man, in my meditation progression, man. And it's something that I wanted to share with you guys because it's so easy. You know what I mean? It's so simple, but yet so powerful. You know what I mean? And what I'm talking about is using a guitar to incorporate into your meditation, mindfulness, breathing practice. And because there's a such thing as using instruments to meditate and to practice mindfulness and breathing techniques, which is very helpful in, I guess, in working out that neuroplasticity of your brain. In other words, it's food, man, for your brain to change its mental thought process. You know what I'm saying? And for someone like myself who is an addict, I'm able to change those habitual patterns through music, man, and it's beautiful. And but what I want to do, I'm excited because I just got this new guitar, man, and I've been waiting to strum it up. You know what I mean? So check it out, man. This is it. Cool guitar, man. Check it out. Well, what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna first show you guys how it sounds, man. Give you a little introduction to my new Mitchell, man. And cool guitar, dude. Check this out. Let's see what we got here. Let's go. Let's see. We'll go here. All right, here we go. you guys enjoyed that. Well, check this out, man. That's why I like playing the guitar. I get emotional when I play the guitar for some reason, you know, because it brings this feeling to you that is, it's like that inner thing in you that you want to come out, that because of those things that keep you bound down, those depressions, those traumas, those addictions, because of all of those things, because of all of those delusions, it's hard for you to connect with that inner thing that you have, that we call in the spiritual realm the light, the energy, the divine presence, the Buddha nature. You know what I mean? It's beautiful to me that music brings that out in people. That's why I strongly, you know, recommend using an instrument for your meditation process, man, because it connects you with something that is in you, that is caked up through layers and layers of delusion, of things that you do, of bad nature in your life, you know, and everybody is subject to that, you know what I mean? There's no way around that, because this life is of suffering, and the good thing about that is that it's of impermanence also, right? And but through mindful practice, using an instrument is just one of the ways, man. You know what I mean? It's just one way to change. It's one of those ways to change your mental thought process, because ultimately, if you want to have any change in yourself, if you want to have any change in the addiction, if you want to have any change in the depression, in the grief, and the sadness, and the anger, you have to be open and vulnerable to new things. You know what I mean? You got to be teachable. And when you're teachable, that allows your mental capacity to grow enormously. And, you know, through the things like reading, through, you know, attending, you know, community groups that are like-minded, that, you know, I attend many of those types of groups. You know, for me, it's a lot of 12-step program groups, and, you know, Dharma recovery things, and music therapy is what I do. One of the big things that I personally do, and doing a lot of meditation. You know what I'm saying? So you have to be teachable. You know what I'm saying? And that's how we change, man. That's how we evolve, is as human beings, to break these destructive patterns that we're so used to. You know what I mean? Because ultimately, that is the thing, that it's the things, it's our environment, it's the things that we connect ourselves with through our sensory organs, because we are beings of just that. We live through our sensory organs, and for most human beings, you know, the attraction of the sensory organ is usually is of the craving and attraction to things that are unhealthy. You know what I mean? And but this is just one of the ways, man, you know, and it's just one of the ways. One way that I do is one of the things that I incorporate into my spiritual life and my recovery, and I just wanted to share it with you guys. And just to give you a little, I'm just going to give you guys a little exercise of one of the things that I do. And you don't have to even play guitar, man. You know what I mean? You don't have to know how to play the instrument. All you got to do is strum it, man. You know what I mean? And what I got this exercise here, and it's called Guitar Intro and Mindfulness Breathing. And what this is just a calm protocol breathing exercise. And it just uses a guitar, and you're just strumming. You know what I mean? It's just strumming down and strumming up. You know what I mean? If you want to put a note to that, you can put they use in this particular exercise, they use an E chord, which is, you know, the second fret is right here, and it's the second string, which is the A string, and the D string, which is the fifth and the fourth string if you're going from top to bottom. And you know, you just press both of those down, and it sounds like this. This is the guitar strumming by itself, and this is with the chord. You hear the difference. And then here's just with one finger on the D string, and then here's with both. So the exercise tells us to lift up finger 2 and pluck the thickest string to the thinnest string with the thumb at one time while breathing in. And then it says hold the breath for 4 seconds and then add the second finger back on the fretboard and pluck from the thinnest string to the thickest string. In other words, from the bottom up. And as you do this, you want to breathe out slowly, and then you pause for a few seconds, and then you repeat the process. And this is a breathing technique that it's just a breathing technique, and it helps you stay focused, and it works out that calmness, the neuroplasticity of the brain, and it's just a practice so that you can, focus. You know what I mean? And get this breathing techniques that are healthy. You know what I mean? So here we go. Let's try this. So it's gonna go. Taking the one finger off, and then from the thinnest string, from the thickest to the thinnest. In other words, from top down. So you're gonna go like this and breathe in. You want to hold it for 4 seconds. 2, 3, 4. Finger down and up. And let it out. And the same thing, just in and out. Hold, 2, 3, 4, out. And you continue to do this with focusing on that sound of the music. And it's just one of the ways, man, that, I've been practicing this mindful meditation for not a long time, for the last 2 years. So just say that I've been, for the last 2 years, I've really been doing it, extensively. And I meditate, an hour in the morning and an hour before bedtime. And then I also meditate throughout the day, a few, in 10, 15-minute increments, sometimes even an hour, you know what I mean? It's just all day long I'm doing some sort of meditation, because meditation doesn't always mean that you're sitting in silence, right? And you could be meditating as you're walking down the street, and it's called mindful walking meditation. And just anything that you do, if you find yourself paying attention to things as you're going out through your day, you know what I mean? That's being mindful. You're being mindful of things. You know what I'm saying? And the more that you continue to do that practice, it gets this thought process in yourself working. You know what I mean? And especially if you start practicing it on a regular basis and feeding yourself spiritual things, spiritual readings, spiritual practices, watching what other people do, you know what I mean? Because ultimately, we are where we're at today, and we do the things that we do because of someone else's mental thought process, right? And what better way to do that in your life by practicing things that other people have already done, especially the people of divine nature, of divine and spiritual nature. And for me, I a lot of the Christian stories, a lot of the Buddhist practices and stories that I incorporate in my meditation, and there are other, even I do some of the Hare Krishna meditations that I like to do, and I practice a little bit of the Bhakti yoga. So it's just a variety of things that I incorporate in my life. But for me, that works. Even though I'm all over the place, for me, it works. You know what I'm saying? But, my main study of practice in this particular time in my life is the Buddhist practice. And it has really helped me move forward and past the whole addiction thing. You know what I mean? And nothing has worked for me, throughout the years. And I've been, I've been dealing with that for a long time, and everything that I've done, don't get me wrong, a lot of the things that I did do in the past helped. You know what I mean? I've had 10 years of sobriety at one point in my life. You know what I mean? And that was due to the rooms of the 12-step programs, and to my Christian faith. You know what I'm saying? So it doesn't mean that I don't believe in any of those things anymore. I do wholeheartedly, but that's the beauty of the Buddhist practice, that it intertwines a way of living through meditation, breathing practices, and a mindful and just karmic divine way of living. And for me, at this point in my life, that's what works. And music is a big part of that, you know what I mean? And I've got, my family has been musically inclined. Gosh, my dad was a musician, his dad was a musician. I've got uncles in my mom's side of the family who are musicians, and cousins who, even my grandfather on my mom's side was a guitar player, and they, I've been around music my whole life and never really understood the power that it had. You know what I mean? Until the recent years of me picking up these meditative processes and practices, and gosh, I wish I would have really stuck to it when I was a little guy. But all I wanted to do was do the rock and roll thing, and my dad wasn't having that. He wasn't having that. You know what I mean? So, but anyway, thanks to him that I got this love for the music. You know what I mean? Because I can remember my dad. My dad's a saxophone player, and I can remember him always breaking out that saxophone. You know what I mean? And just, he was doing what I do with this guitar, and the mindfulness of it. And he would get, when we're practicing, when I'm practicing in this music therapy that I do, they tell you to get this guitar and just to focus on it and just see every part of it, and just scan it and be aware of what this guitar is, what it's made of, how it was made, who made it, and the people that made it. Did they know it was going to have effect? Did they know that their work in this guitar was going to have effect on an attic somewhere in Texas? You know what I'm saying? So that's the beauty of that mindful meditation, man, and to cultivate a new way of living, a new way of thinking. It's the beauty of that to me. And I can remember, at an early age, I was being taught how to be mindful in a scan type thing. And my dad showed me this. I had no idea that that's what he was doing, or I don't know if he even knew that he was doing it. You know what I'm saying? But I remember him getting that saxophone out and just touching every detail to that sax and explaining it all to me. And then he needed to tell me the most important part of this and that, and then you get this mouthpiece, and then when you put it on, you got to do this and you got to do that. And then when he blew in that thing, man, it just, man, it was just like this sound, you know what I'm saying? Which was great. But so anyway, I just wanted to kind of bring that up to the forefront and talk to you guys a little bit about this mindful meditation thing and music meditation that I do, and hopefully that it would help you guys out, somebody out there, you know what I'm saying? But it's another thing, just another way, man, just another way to, move past these, sufferings and adversities that we go throughout our daily life, man, because ultimately there's always going to be suffering, but the good thing is that suffering is of impermanence. It doesn't last forever, man. And the key here is to feed yourself this wisdom of divine and karmic things that you're able to navigate your life in a certain way, right? And to do these things that will help you in your recovery and in your thought processes and stuff like that. So yeah, but anyway, I just wanted to share that message with you guys and get that out there today, because it was kind of weighing heavy on me and stuff, and I was just wanting to let you guys know, how I deal with some of those things and my whole thing, with the whole music thing, which is a really cool thing. But anyway, If you would please at this time give me a thumbs up, shoot me a comment, and do me a favor and hit that subscribe button, share this channel, because there's only one way that we can share the message, carry the message, is to share, right? And just know that when you do hit that subscribe button, it doesn't cost you a thing. It don't cost you a thing at all. But you know what? You will be helping out another veteran, another homeless person, another person dealing with PTSDs, childhood traumatic experiences, drug addiction, alcoholism, trauma, childhood trauma, all those types of things, my friends, because I have dealt with all those things at one point in time in my life. And guess what, man? I know a way out, and my way out could be your way out. But I guess until the next time on When the Smoke Clears, I am the Recovery Plug.